want to approve the once it's okay. Once we approve the design, we would now break it down into issues. So we manage to create issues maybe by Friday. Then is it Friday or Thursday? Somewhere between.
Was it? I think it was Friday.
Yep. Then on Saturday we try to build one page, which like we raised the pull request today. So that's more of it. And
yeah, absolutely. Like we would love to see even just like your thought process or your planning process, how you planned it, then why you created the issues you created and how you split that work. And also like we can see like what you have implemented in the code as well as the Figma file. That would be great to showcase that as well. Yeah, like in the past, what I wanted to share is that in the past, what other teams did was that they split work by the pages, you know, like for example, the view page as well as like add the page. So they split into pairs and they decided to go with that road, like kind of doing one page, one pair, another page, another pair. And then coming back together on the home screen and doing some implementation on there as well. So, I mean, if you need like ideas in terms of like how you want to split this work, like please feel free to maybe ask to your mentors and maybe we can give you some ideas. But like as it was mentioned since last week, it's totally up to you and you should like self-organize yourself around this this last 2 weeks. So, and I'm sure you'll do it great. So,
yeah, I think that's what we did.
Oh, Sashi, I think you are muted.
Muted. No, still muted.
Can you hear me, right?
Yes.
Yes.
You're muted again.
Yeah, so maybe I can take over. So yeah, I think the first time we decided to discuss about like what is the color scheme of our UI and the font as well. And I think we were targeting, at first, we wanted it to be cute. And then we decided to choose the color that is ice cream, like looks like ice cream. So that's why we came up with the UI that looks like an sort of ice cream themed at the end. And
like a summer theme, right?
yes. And yeah, maybe I can share a bit of the Figma and
yeah, we would love to see.
yes. Okay.
So
after we decided with the color scheme here, we have the codes and the font as well. I didn't put the font here. Oh my god, I need to organize this a little bit. But yes, so me and Abby were working on the design, and so yeah, we decided to just at every page we created 2 versions of the screen. So if it's a welcome screen, we have the desktop version and the mobile version. And the interesting part of this is I think Abby already ran like accessibility. So like the colors, the problem was our color was there is no this color, so only like the really light colors, and that wasn't contrast enough for accessibility reason. So we decided to add another color that is like a darker color, a darker version of this color. So that was one issue, and the other issue is like how big everything should be, like the font. And I think that's why when we me and Zashi were pairing with implementing this screen, it's like, oh my god, this looks so big, but because we wanted to be accessible, so we just decided to just let it. And so we also interesting part of the accessibility is there is this vision simulator, and it runs for the colorblind. So if we generate for all simulations, oh, maybe just the welcome screen and generate this. Oh, apparently it's limited. So we ran this too, and at that time it's working. And I think I can actually see it on browser instead. I need to stop sharing and then share the this one. And I have it already here. Stop. It's start. And so it's sort of like see if it's colorblind, then it's contrast enough for every single kind of colorblind. So that was interesting for like to play around
This
how
is awesome.
people see. And yeah, so that was our attempts to make the user interface of our app more accessible.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Like with all honesty, I love the design, and it's super cute. It has like a summer theme, and you know, yeah, I love it. I really love it. So, and what was the like? Did any of you have experience with Figma, or you just?
So Abby has more experience with like design in general, and I think she used Figma once for her personal project, and I only used Figma also once for a hackathon. So this is my second
Perfect.
try.
Yeah, I mean, this is like you've got great skills for sure. In a short period of time, like you were able to kind of build the whole thing. So yeah, like great design, like with all honesty. And also it's great that you've done some of the accessibility implementations as well, because like as I mentioned, the following week you will get, so today you will learn more about accessibility and how to make it more accessible. So we will share some tools, some resources that will help you to make it fully accessible. So the following week, on top of the design process, you will also make your app accessible, which is going to be amazing. And what you have now in terms of accessibility is really, really amazing. This is kind of like a forward steps for the coming week. So great work with it as well.
Yeah, so maybe Claire can explain a little bit of the GitHub issues.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sorry, could you please repeat that?
Zashi or Claire can explain about the GitHub issues.
The GitHub issue. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry for
So do you know if Abby is going to make it today, or?
No, I don't things because she's in
Abby is
London.
not. I think
Yeah.
she'll be able to. She'll be available next week. I think maybe
Yes.
by Wednesday, something like that. Yeah, and she explained that, so she told us that she would not be here. So,
Mhm.
I don't know where were you guys, but about the issue, I think that's where I'm gonna catch up. I was not here, to be honest. So let me share my screen. Mhm. Okay. Sorry. So what we've managed to do, we like as I said before, we break the we've broken down the issue based on like the number of screen that we have. So far we've created 6 issues. I think the first one is this one, welcome screen. And the way we did it, we were like just introducing a little bit about the issue, and I see like maybe if this is like the welcoming page, we say like the AC should be like it should contain a logo, welcoming text, a button, and maybe a card, just to mention that based on this image, the like content in this image should be like one of things that should be like bold during the issue, like once someone is working on this issue. So that's like we most use like a lot of screenshots to show that that you can, based on this, like for window reference, I mean desktop or mobile. And I think most of issue are in this similar way. So I don't know if you like want to like pass, for example, this one is a user should see a responsive cute style landing page for the smart shopping list app. I should see the cell welcoming test. This is Samesi, style create new list button. Style a card with input box and join existing list button, add logo at the top, something like that. So most of the issue, this is how we are like break down through. Yeah. So
Awesome. Did you sorry to interrupt.
Mhm.
Did you like did you decide who is gonna take this issue?
About that, we've like me and Claire and Nadinda, we were like, let's try it option. So we're like, if we try to divide ourselves, like assign, like say for example, one issue should be like like 2 people working on it, that should move quicker. But we're like, let's also experience like if we try to work together on it. So right now, so far, we've tried to build this landing page. I think I already have it run. Like this is like the code, the implemented one. And I think by next week, we are going to break down because I think also Abby is almost coming. So we're gonna have it like so that it's be move faster because I think we only have this week left. So we need to break down with assign people, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can also do that by the end of today's meeting. Like we can maybe go back to the issues and try to kind of assign who's going to take what, if you want to do that.
Yeah, I think that's Nadine, what do you think, or Claire? Can you?
I think we were discussing because we have like 6 or 5 issues, isn't it? And so the way we divided it is because welcome screen, we wanted to do it together, like one screen, we do it as a group. And next week, we want to like every person take one screen so it can be finished on time. That's what we were discussing.
Cool. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. Define a pattern, get everybody on the same page, and then say go.
Yes, exactly. And the fact that at first the initial setup will be like installing Material UI. So we were kind of hoping that the first screen is finished, then the initial setup will also be on main already. So by the time we split it up, like working on our own, it's already like set up. We can just use it.
Yeah, just wondering. So the issues you have now, they are all about styling, right?
Yeah. So far, it's all styling.
Yeah. Though I think there's something like refactoring and maybe some small errors. That's like I think we will be. I was thinking that because the basic were like let's first create the really quick issues so that we at least have something for the week done. But there's still more like issue like improving our code, like small errors to be corrected. Yeah, that one is also. I think we add more like 2, 3. I don't know. Depends on someone. Yeah.
Sure.
But even with the styling stuff, it looks like you have quite a bit of work to do here. Especially if you're doing one MR per issue or PR. So, I mean, the functionality is there. He hasn't got it that the app is working, and what you guys have outlined makes this look. It takes it to a professional level for sure.
We also want to try to style it individually, like to see whether we can like have separate experience kind of, but like as a practice, how to slice design.
Oh, you decided to go with Material UI, right?
Yes.
Just curious why material over, there's a bunch of them.
Maybe Zaishi can explain. It's I think Zaishi and Abi already have experience on it, and they are quite happy with it, and it goes well with React. So
Yeah, I think I don't maybe me and Abby were very interested to use Material UI. For me, I've used Material UI once, but I was in love with it because once you like Material UI has already built the component with something I would say professionalism, like tools and component, and those components are already built in React. So it looks like Material UI is built actually for React, and it's I can say framework which compared to others, it's also famous, used a lot of community. So we're like, why don't we still be in React with also Material UI, which is built in React? It was gonna be still something like React spirit,
Yeah, that makes sense. Kind of like going with the Material UI is like one of the most popular kind of like is it framework?
But I'm hoping this week things gonna move fast. Like, yeah, we know there'll be some like feedbacks on issue, but it was hard for us like to try to do something where there's no like broken down issue yet. So we delayed a bit to break down. Like that's why like it took long, and we had nothing to show. But I think this week gonna be different. Everything is set up. Issues are listed there. So it's only to assign like this you're gonna do this gonna do this, and get feedback, implement them. Yeah, I think it's gonna.
Yeah. Also, if you decide to go faster, and if you think that your pull requests will be ready like earlier than Thursday or Friday, feel free to like kind of send us or ping us and send us a message that, okay, like this particular PR is ready, and if you have time, please review. So like I'm happy to jump in as early as possible and give you some reviews for the styling. Because like I also think you might also do some accessibility changes to your app after today's learning module. So if you think that like you want to kind of rush through some of the things, like feel free to ping us and let us know that this is ready, and maybe like give us some review on this while I do some accessibility things or whatever.
Nice. So can we maybe like assign, like help us to break through? I think that's also can work. Like we just share, or I don't know what client Nadine think.
Yeah. If you think you need more time to decide who will do what, feel free to take time. Don't worry about it. No.
A lot of times when we're working on our teams, we have a bunch of issues that we want to work on. And we don't ahead of time say, you're going to work on this, you're going to work on this. It's more about like, when you're ready to work on another issue, just go ahead and assign yourself to it. And then that signals to everybody else, like, okay, you're working on that area. They can grab something else. That way you can just kind of work on it as you need to. And you don't have to coordinate everything with everybody. That's one option.
All right, so for the purpose of like, we have like 35 minutes left, so maybe I will share Bela's recording of presentation. She couldn't make it today because she did like a second dose of her vaccine, and she couldn't make it, but she recorded the presentation, and I will be sharing my screen to show you the presentation. Sashi, can you, I think you need to stop sharing your screen.
Yeah, thanks. You might do.
Okay, can you also see my screen? Yes, awesome. Let's see if we can hear the sound as well. So, can you all hear the voice?
I'm not getting any audio now.
No, right?
Yeah, I wasn't getting any audio.
Okay, let me then have my...
Time, the sketches, and the coding part. Unfortunately, I will not be able to attend.
There you go.
Live. So for the learning module, I've prepared this small video. And if you have any question, don't hesitate to ask Luca or the other mentors after this video. So for the learning module today, we are going to talk about accessibility. We are going to talk about what is accessibility, why we need accessibility, and why it's so important for mobile applications or web applications or for any type of interaction with humans, and how we can achieve the best accessibility in our projects. There is a very interesting fact. So either in this way, like with the written form accessibility, either with the 11. It's not Ellie, it's 11 here. And it is written this way just to shorten it a little bit. And it's chosen 11 because there are 11 letters between the A and epsilon here. So that's why they decided to put 11 there. In this way, it's more easy to indicate it, to create tweets or hashtags or anything. So if you run into this hashtag, that means that this is an accessibility topic. What is accessibility? As Wikipedia says, web accessibility is the inclusive practice of ensuring that are no barriers that prevent interaction with or access to websites on the World Wide Web by people with physical disabilities, situational disabilities, and socioeconomic restrictions on bandwidth and speed. When sites are correctly designed, developed, and edited, generally all users have equal access to information and functionality. So, just in a few words, this means that any type of application, any type of website that we are building, we need to make sure that it's accessible to everyone. It doesn't matter what abilities a person have or what disabilities is currently facing. We need to make sure that the web is always accessible to everyone in the same way. The W3C maintains a working group dedicated to web accessibility, and they also publish every year related standards, and they have also the WGAC, so it's like the guideline for accessibility. If you are more interested in this part, you can always go and check like what is the latest standard and what the latest standard consists of. Okay, there are 3 levels of accessibility. Compliance with this WCAG that reflect the priority of the support. So A, it's essential, it's ideal support, and AAA is specialized support. The first one, the A, if this isn't met, assistive technology may not be able to read, to understand, or to fully operate page or view. The second one, AA, the ideal support, it is required for multiple government and public body websites. If it's AAA, the specialized supports, this is typically reserved for parts of websites and web apps that serve a specialized audience. These are 3 levels of accessibility. It is important that accessibility is met. It doesn't matter the level. And in order to make sure that all the countries have the right accessibility for the users, there are also some guidelines or some rules. So for example, in the US, the section 508 requires government agencies to make websites accessible to people with disabilities. In Canada, under AODA in 2005, it requires all the public sector and private or not private organizations with more than 50 employers to have accessible website by January 2021. And those who fail to comply, they're going to end up having fines like 100K for each day of violation. In the EU, the Web Accessibility Directive in 2016 made sure that all EU countries must comply with the directive and make public service websites really accessible to people with disabilities. I can say that a lot of European countries, like for example Norway, Germany, even France, Spain, I think a lot of countries, they make sure that all the websites are accessible. In Germany, it's really typical that if you go to the Bayern portal, it is like the city website. You have the option to hear, like the website can literally speak out all the words that are written there. You have the option to zoom in like a lot and so on. So you have a lot of different options, different features that make it more accessible. And this is an obligation that Germany has to fulfill as it's part of the EU. Okay, so we have also this part here. The Norway had the universal design of 2014 and requires both public and private sector to make websites accessible to people. So Norway went a step ahead. They need also to make private sector with accessible website. Cool. So now it's again what, but how the industry is solving it nowadays. So a lot of people that they have disabilities, they access the website using assistive technologies. These assistive technologies are exactly the technologies I talked ahead about Germany, for example. So all the websites include screen readers, screen magnifiers that make the screen look bigger or smaller and so on, speech input, assistive keyboard, and braille displays. Most popular screen readers include the NFDA, and this is quite famous. It's, I would say, the most used one from the tools. It's free and it's almost everywhere. But there are also some other options like JAWS on Windows and VoiceOver, which is built in Mac OS. So for sure, this is a big industry. The system technologies are built for any type of working machine, from Windows to Mac to Linux to whatever the working machine is. And for sure, there are tools that are free and they are being updated in order to help people with disabilities. We talked about what is accessibility. Now we are going to talk about why we need accessibility. The first of them all, it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do to provide the same information, the same guidance, the same website for both categories, for people without disabilities and for people that have disabilities. So it's the right thing to do. The second is that you are forced somehow to make your website accessible. If you don't comply with this regulation, that as it was mentioned in Canada, then you are going to pay a big fine. So better double check that your website is accessible. The third one is more people in the US access websites with assistive technology than live in Canada. So 20% of the website visitors, they have some sort of disability. There are different types of disabilities. We are going to talk about disabilities a little bit later on the slides, but I would say that the number can be even more than 20%. So it's quite important to have assistive technology to help these people out. The fourth thing is if you are thinking ahead and you want to make the pages more accessible for people who have disabilities, in the process, you also make it more accessible to people that also don't have disabilities. So you make it accessible to everyone. And this improves the accessibility in general for the website. So it's a very good thing to do technical-wise and also human-wise. As I mentioned, we have different types of disabilities. So this is the persona spectrum, and this comes from Microsoft. So it's the persona spectrum design from Microsoft. Microsoft itself has done a lot of research about accessibility and built tools about it and so on. So it's really cool. You can go over this link and also check it. There are three different categories of people. So there are permanent, temporary, and situational. The permanent are people who have this disability and it's going to be permanent for the whole duration. Temporary, as the name says, it's just temporary, so just for a short amount of time. And situational, it is based on a specific situation in the persona life. So let's take an example. Let's take the arm example. The permanent would be someone who, for example, is born with one arm only. So he's lacking one arm. This disability is for the entire life, so he's always going to lack this arm. The temporary would be that the persona has both arms, but because of an accident, one arm is injured and he cannot type like on the keyboard with this arm. The situation, no, it's, for example, when we are dealing with a persona, it is a pregnant woman, and because her situation is that she needs to carry the baby, also she cannot use this arm, so this arm is occupied. It can be different things. So right now we talked about the touch, the first over here, but it can be this. It can be the seeing. So the eyes. It can be the hearing. It can be the speech. It can be anything. This is the persona spectrum, and I would say it's quite interesting to have a look on it. We finish also with the why we need to do it. Now it's, I would say, the most important thing, how we plan to achieve a better accessibility. There are some simple best practices. So the first one is to use some valid semantic HTML. So make sure to use header, main, side figure, details, footer, button from H1 to button to H1 till H6, the headers and more. So make sure that all the HTML you write is semantic and it's valid. The second thing is always include alt attributes on your image tags. We also have this small a here, don't overuse. What does this mean? This means that, for example, if you're using images that doesn't have a real meaning, you can just leave the alt an empty string. But if the image has a real meaning, like, for example, we are showcasing in the website the mentors, then it makes sense that if the image is from Luca, to put the alt Luca, if the image is from Bela, to put the alt Bela, and so on. So if it makes sense to give alt attribute, make sure that you have it. If it doesn't make sense, so it's an icon or something like that, then make sure that it's an empty string. But don't forget to put alt. The third one is to use Aria attributes if necessary. And there is also this quite nice quote over here. The best Aria is not Aria at all. We need to use semantic HTML whenever possible. What does that mean? In general, don't try to open a div and inside the div, open other tags and so on. So if you want to use a form, do directly form. You use Aria attributes as less as you can, so try to avoid them. Other things are, for example, ensure that all the content is reachable via keyboard, in case, especially if you have inputs, this is really important. Ensure content and tab ordering makes sense. Make sure that you have sufficient color contrast. There are people who suffer from colors. So, for example, they cannot identify which one is green, which one is red. They cannot identify quite good the contrast, which is more important. So make sure that there is a study about it, like about the color contrast and everything in the website. And the last one is don't use only color to signify state. Try to signify state in more ways, in more UX UI ways. A general approach I have here from my life experience, it is that we have our website in my current job, and we have this quiet video, and our designer loves interaction. So it's like putting some interaction here, some interaction there. There are also some people who have not disability, but they are quite bothered. So it feels really bad for them to watch interactions. So we have both different type of target users. We have the ones who love it, but there are also, on the other hand, that are people who don't like so much interaction. This doesn't fall exactly on the accessibility, but I think on the disability part of it, but I think it's quite important that that you keep in mind what your target user is when you are building a website, when you are building an application, and you make sure that you read a lot about how to make it more accessible. So if the application has a lot of interaction, think more about what about the people who gets dizzy when they see interaction. Think about more if someone is going to use the keyboard to drag through the inputs, if somebody is going to use a mouse, if somebody is going to use it on an iPad, an iPhone, or on the responsiveness. So make sure that it's accessible in the whole application. Okay, so in the how part, we also have some tools that can be a great help. The first one is automated tools such as Axe. Axe is a good start, but only finds only 30% of the issues. I think Axe is also connected to Lighthouse itself. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's a free Chrome extension, so you can use it and check how it works. But it doesn't find most of the issues. The second one that we are also going to show to the demo, it's guided audits that are built in. So for example, this accessibility insight, I have it here, accessibility insight for web, and you can again add it to the Chrome. And this would be the Chrome extension. I already added it. That's why here it's removed from Chrome. And I can see it here, accessibility insights for web. There are some others like audits by accessibility testers by companies such as Table Tech Labs. You can read more about each one of the tools and check which one makes more sense for you. This sounds pretty cool. At least I like the website and the company that work with them. So I would definitely check it. You can, for example, make a test on your own. So you can check it on your own by navigating your website through the keyboard. And you can use a tool like Wave tool. And same as others, Wave is a web accessible evaluation tool. You just need to put the URL of your application and just type it here, for example, and then it will give a detailed report how accessible your application is. Cool, now it's demo time. In the demo, I'm going to show how to check, for example, Stack Overflow, how accessible it is, by using this accessibility insights for web. So if you have an application, just go to the link. I'm just checking Stack Overflow. You can check your own application, the one that you are currently building. You can check it also from the local host, or you can check it from the deployed version. So here, just go on the plugins and click Accessibility Insights for Web. And then you can just choose the easiest one, that is this fast path that run 3 tests to find the most common accessibility issues in less than 5 minutes. There are also some other ones. So this Google Chrome, it's created just for this thing. So I guess there are a lot of things that you can mess around, try things out and change them. So here you can see that there are a lot of problems. So for example, the color contrast ensures the contrast between foreground and background colors meets this threshold from the guidelines. And it tells you where the issue is, where is the snippet, and how to fix it. It tells you the colors. It also has other issues, like for example, this here over here, the HTML you need to ensure that every HTML document has leg attribute, which is missing, and it tells you how to fix it. It has other things like ensures link have text, ensure that lists are structured correctly, and so on. You can go to the second tab and you can click here on. What will do, it will bring you to the page, and you can actually interact on the page. So you can see that this circle red is over here, and then I can move with a keyboard. So I can move with a keyboard over here. I can move to the other parts. I can check things and so on. So I can check the whole page. Then over here, 1 second. Okay, I removed the top. And you can again start over, so you can scan again your application. What is next? Next, I would really like to see from this weekly a small test that you can do with your application. So open your local host, check what are some problems that you have with accessibility, and try to solve them. That would be really, really cool to see them. And the resources, here you have all the resources that were mentioned during this talk. So you have WAI into the accessibility, web content accessibility, some Microsoft and inclusive design, assistive technology, access, about the tools, and about assistive labs and Fable Tech Labs. So a lot of resource. And if you are interested more on the topic, I'm sure there is so much content online that you can learn on. Cool, that was it. I hope I didn't make it too long. And I hope you have a very great weekly.
All right, that was it, the presentation about accessibility. So what do you all think? Do you have any questions, any thoughts or opinions around this?
I found it quite interesting that socio-economic situation is also part of disability. I didn't realize that, but yeah, that was interesting. That was mentioned.
Does any of you have any experience with like making your like either your personal projects or like in general? Have you tried any tools in the past?
Personally, I haven't, no.
I think this is my first time to like I learned that this also exists, so I have to maybe research deep and know more about it, and how, you know, after like this video I'm so interested with this accessibility features.
Yeah, I also haven't. This is my first time. I usually am not doing the UI stuff, so it's more like integrating functionality rather than the UI side of things. So this is a nice experience.
Yeah, so like for sure, like for me, one of my favorite extensions are these accessibility insights for web. The one Bela just used for the demo. And what you can do is actually like run it to your project. Like maybe I can pull it up real quick.
Looks like this is for
Hours.
TCL-3.
Oh, wow. This. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is just press this fast pass, and it will show me like if there are any accessibility issues on this page. And as you can see, there is only one, which is awesome. Like we don't have that many, you know. So it gives you like what exactly is the problem, and then how to fix it. So probably area allow the truth. So area tools are allowed for an element roles. So I think we go here, yeah, somewhere here, like it's showing an Aria label for some reason. And then what you can do is just like inspect what element this is and try to fix it. Another tool in terms of this accessibility extension is this tab. So if I turn it on and if I start pressing the tab, it will show me the order as to like where am I switching to, because if somebody is using tab to identify the different elements, and if it's not showing the right direction, then you know it is missing some paths, or it's not a semantic HTML. So then there are ways to fix it as well. Yeah, I mean, for the coming week, try to use this Chrome extension, and after you finish your styling process, maybe run through the Chrome extension and see like if you need to do some fixes in terms of the accessibility. But looks like it's working great right now on this page. Yeah, any questions? Yeah, I will share this presentation in our Slack as well, so that you have access to the resources and different tools that Bela mentioned during the presentation. But if you have any questions in terms of accessibility, please also like, message us on Slack. So yeah, in terms of issues, like do you want to like decide who is gonna do what, who is going to take what issue, or do you want to have some time to decide on that?
I think we're going to like give it time. But I see that Claire already picked one, so that's good. I think we can just pick whichever screen we want to try to implement.
Some. All right. Yeah. I mean, it's great that you already have like the frameworks. That's more than the half of the job that you need to do, right? Like you kind of know like how you are going to implement the styling. So I'm sure you will do great. And of course, like we are here, and if you have any questions, please let us know. And as mentioned, like if you think you are finishing some of the issues early, please like let us know. We will give you some reviews early in the week, if that's the case.
Okay.
Yeah. Any questions or thoughts?
Yeah. I think it's a suggestion. There was if like we could maybe create a thread for us, like that we can meet and discuss, that would be more helpful, because there's a lot of threads and it's hard to find like where the conversation was, where should I start. So like you used to do like the previous, like before, like one with these pairs, you should have your own thread to discuss like all plans, everything. So you can create one for us as a team, then from there
Yeah, that's a great idea. So like as soon as you decide on what issues you are going to take, just ping me and I will create like that like small kind of bot messages that issue number 16 is taken by Nadinda, and then you can discuss inside that thread. Or if somebody wants to discuss Zashi's issue, then you can have like separate thread for that as well. So yeah, that's a really, really great idea. And let me know like as soon as you choose which issue you all are doing, and I will create those threads for you. Okay. Any other questions or suggestions? All right then. Enjoy the rest of your day, and yeah, we will see you over Slack. I'm doing office hour this week, and I will send you a doodle after our meeting today. All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.